News 5 at noon is being brought to you by Insurance Corporation of Belize, serving Belize for 40 years.
Good afternoon, Belize. It's midday and you're tuned into News at Noon, where we bring you the latest updates from around the country. I'm Paul Lopez and here's what's making headlines today. Joseph Budna detained in Guatemala to serve a 30-year sentence. Public bus catches fire in Belize City. Government of Belize hosts 4th Climate Change Week. And on the international front, first case of screwworm in a human reported in the US. These stories and more are coming up in just 1 minute.
When I was a student, ICB was there to protect me, ensuring my education and future. When I got my first car, ICB was there to protect me, providing excellent coverage and peace of mind on the road. When we moved into our first apartment, ICB was there to protect us, securing our belongings and giving us a sense of security. And when we got our first house, ICB was there for us, protecting our home and everything we've worked so hard for.
At every step of your life's journey, ICB is there for you. For more information, call 224-5328 or visit our nearest branch.
Welcome back. 45-year-old Joseph Budna is in custody of Guatemalan police. Budna was abducted in Orange Walk on Saturday night after going live on Facebook. News of his kidnapping began circulating in the immediate aftermath, and by Sunday, Guatemalan officials confirmed that Budna was in their custody. The Belize Police Department is carrying out an investigation into Budna's disappearance in Orange Walk and subsequent detention in Guatemala. It is a known fact that he was wanted in that country after he escaped from authorities while serving a 30-year sentence for kidnapping. This morning, News 5 caught up with Prime Minister John Briceño, where he was asked if the government of Belize sanctioned an extrajudicial extradition. Here's what he had to say.
Did the state sanction extrajudicial action against Budna for him to end up in Arenal?
Let me just answer your question. Obviously, no. Our government would never sanction such thing. We would not be able to, we would not be a part of that. So, no. So the government did not and would never sanction any such thing on any citizens of this country.
Did Guatemalan authorities carry out any operations on Belizean soil based on your understanding?
Listen, right now the police is doing the investigation, so I don't think we should be speculating. Let's allow the police to do their investigations.
Sure, but what does that say about us in terms of our national security protocols? This man disappeared from in front of a police station and ended up in Guatemala.
Listen, man, let's stop the speculation. Let's allow the police to do their investigation. Once they do their investigation, then we know how to be able to do. The abduction of any citizen of this country is a serious one. We've had instances when from across in Chetamal, they have come and grab our citizens, and we act accordingly. So this case is no different. We're going to act accordingly and to be able to ensure that our citizens can feel safe in our country.
This morning, a chaotic scene unfolded at the Pongyard bus stop in Belize City when a Central Transit bus went up in flames. Around 7 a.m., video footage began circulating on social media, depicting the bus engulfed in flames directly across from a nearby Puma gas station. Fire personnel were on the scene and no injuries have been reported at this time. Members of the public were quick to point out that the bus was in a bad condition and had broken down several times recently. Earlier this year, a bus from the same company experienced a blown tire and overturned on the road, injuring up to 30 people. Just a few days later, 3 more buses would go up in flames while parking overnight. These incidents have raised serious concerns as to whether the buses are suitable to be transporting passengers and travelers in Belize. Last year, the Ministry of Transport introduced new standards for public transportation, setting age limits for various bus services. Road service permits would require premier buses to be no older than 10 years, economy buses capped at 20 years, and rural buses at 25 years, and operators were expected to upgrade 50% of their fleets. More details to come as we follow this story. The government of Belize is hosting its 4th annual Climate Week in Belize City. This event will feature a panel discussion and interactive booths on the issue of climate change. Day one is to feature a youth engagement forum. Throughout the course of the week, representatives from the forestry and agriculture departments will be present to showcase their work. Robust discussions will also be held on indigenous leadership involvement and climate financing. We spoke with Minister of Sustainable Development, Orlando Habet, about the significance of this week.
We have expanded the area, got support from the private sector and other agencies to be able to host this event and to put in the booths for the blue zone, the green zone, and to have panels for discussion involving young people, government, the private sector, to see how we can all work together, because as the speeches mentioned, myself, Prime Minister, the Ambassador from Brazil, this is something that we all have to do together. The climate crisis is a problem globally, and so we have to scale up our climate action. But also part of the reason that we are scaling up is because of our international commitments. NDC 1, then 2.0, now 3.0 asks for greater ambition. In greater ambition, we have to put more towards climate action. However, as you note that on Friday we will have a specific day just for climate finance. So it's a climate finance forum, because we can do our 3.0 NDC, a stronger potential for implementation, but if the financing is not there, then there is no implementation.
And on the topic of conservation, the Maya Leaders Alliance has called on the government to ensure that there is an inclusive approach to the protection of forest lands in the Toledo district. Considering the recently signed trilateral biodiversity agreement between Belize, Mexico, and Guatemala, these indigenous communities say they do not want to be pushed out. This morning, we asked Minister Habet about these concerns. Here's how he responded.
Everybody has to be included. As a matter of fact, we were careful enough that when we did that, the tripartite agreement, that we looked at the areas that would have been covered within Belize proper, because it couldn't be just for the majority of the land area to the conservation area to be just two other countries. Belize had to be included. So we have included, of course, areas in the north, the central corridor, and the south, so that then everybody can be part of the solution.
And finally, the first human case of flesh-eating screwworm parasite has now been confirmed in the United States. Here in Belize, over 335 cases have already been reported in animals. However, just last week, 2 human cases were confirmed. The first in a 21-year-old man from Benke, and the second in a 60-year-old man from Kamalote village. Minister Josemai noted that Belize is prepared to respond. However, he emphasized that a full eradication effort depends on international coordination, especially with the United States government. According to the Centers for Disease Control, the first U.S. case of New World screwworm was confirmed on August 4th. The patient had recently returned from travel to El Salvador. So far, no cases in animals have been reported in the U.S. this year, but the risk remains high. The Belizean public is advised to remain vigilant and to report suspected cases directly to the Belize Agricultural Health Authority. That's a wrap for News at Noon, but don't worry, there's plenty more coming your way at 6 p.m. We'll dive deeper into these stories and more. In the meantime, visit greaterbelize.com and follow us on Facebook for real-time updates. And don't miss Open Your Eyes tomorrow morning for fresh takes on today's headlines. Thanks for tuning in, Belize. Stay informed, stay inspired, and have a fantastic afternoon.
News 5 at noon was brought to you by Insurance Corporation of Belize, serving Belize for 40 years.
I'm Brittany, one of the newest faces around here. My stories are heartfelt and bring a fresh perspective. On the job, there is no challenge too great. Flooded highways, raging fires, or asking tough questions. My determination and willingness to connect with people help to deliver stories that put you, our viewers, at the forefront of issues. My motto? Accurate, timely, and relevant. I am News 5.